Just before I let you go, I did want to ask you one more question on a different subject, if you don't mind, Your Excellency.
Your Excellency? With another day here, we've got another embarrassing moment coming from the Trudeau Liberal government. Welcome back to Moose and Loose. My name's David, and today's top story, we've got the Governor General of Canada, Mary Simon, who was appointed by Justin Trudeau, is embarrassing the Liberals. Not only that, she's absolutely riddled with corruption and scandal herself. On top of that, we've got some new polling numbers among some other stories, so let's jump into this. First off, from Abacus Data, we've got some new polling data here. These numbers haven't changed much. We've got the current share of votes here, Conservative 43%, Liberals 21%. So Liberals are still dropping. NDP are kind of going up. They're almost neck and neck here. You can see this graph here. The Conservatives are just slowly inching their way up, and Trudeau and the Liberals are just continuing to fall slowly. This one's more interesting. You can see the breakdown of all the different provinces. This one, it says vote intention by Quebec versus the rest of Canada. So this is what we're just showing here, but look at this. So rest of Canada, 50%. Every chart you look at, this one here, BC, Ontario, Atlantic Canada, the numbers, just Conservatives going up, Liberals going down. This one is by age, so we've got 18 to 29, 30 to 44, 45 to 59, and over 60. You know, it's just Conservatives everywhere, especially this one here, this is where you have taxpayers who have been through the ringer and understand where our money really goes and who really spends our money. That's why you typically see younger voters to be voting Liberal. They don't understand the Liberals tend to waste money and the Conservatives save money, and you end up having a higher paycheck, just a better life, voting Conservative. That usually takes some time, but look at this. I mean, 20%. Things are really switching here in Canada as young people can't afford houses in Canada because of Justin Trudeau now. We got male versus female. We've got this impression of Jagmeet Singh. You see the red line is increasing, which is negative versus positive. Yeah, no kidding. I don't think Jagmeet trying to say he stood up to a bully, it just makes him look like a goon. That was not good for his image, let alone the grieving mom with the 2 kids and his response to that. It's just every single thing with the Jagmeet making him look bad in the last kind of 2 weeks here. And no surprise here, Justin Trudeau, the negative, that's what the red is continually going up and positives going down. Pierre Poilievre here is basically kind of flat. Next up, we've got this absolute cringe clip of Justin Trudeau at the President's Cup. I believe this is golf. He's handing out this giant award. Of course he is. Oh, give me the big trophy. Oh. He probably thought it was for himself. So I can't have that music in here, but you can see he's got his videographer following him around. Look at this guy. Like, it's just one thing after the next with this guy. And what is he wearing? Ugh. He's such an embarrassment. Like, what is this guy? He's just this guy does not represent Canada. He does not. He looks like he's about to show up to the debate club or something. And do they have to pay these kids to want to have these flags signed by him? Does anyone actually want to have this guy's signature? You're the most annoying prime minister in Canadian history. Nobody likes you. Help us celebrate by allowing us to choose our leader. Call an election, bucko. What about you? Have you contributed something good to the country? Let's be real. Can we have some leadership that focuses on real issues instead of just golf claps? Yeah, no kidding. Loud music to drown out the axe the tax heckling. Probably. You're a loser. You shouldn't be on that podium with those winners. I'm surprised you didn't just award the cup to yourself. I hate you. Go away. No one in Canada likes you. Imagine winning an award and having handed to by this scumbag. Next up, let's jump into this story about the Governor General. So Mary Simon, she was put in there by Justin Trudeau. The Governor General is one of the only ways to get rid of Trudeau. She can do that. We'll get into that in a minute here, but let's just take a look at this. She basically went to Quebec and people found out she doesn't speak French. And now there's a big uproar over that.
On Tuesday, the current Governor General, Mary Simon, was touring a food bank in Quebec City when reporters noticed that she wasn't using any French. Now, she's been Governor General for 3 years. When she was appointed back in 2021, it was assumed she would learn French. She's the first Governor General since the 1950s not to be bilingual. And she did make promises in her first speeches that she was going to become proficient in both official languages. But 3 years later, she goes to a food bank in Quebec City, and Quebec reporters notice that she's speaking strictly in English, except to say, hello, how are you, and some of the basic greetings in French. Now, that's by itself not awful. I mean, I think that people in the rest of Canada would not be happy if the Governor General spoke only French. So you have to understand that it is an irritant, if not an insult, to Quebecers that the Governor General, the highest person in the country, doesn't speak their language. But what made it worse was that Simon, after she was questioned about her inability to speak French, canceled the whole of the rest of her Quebec City trip.
Just think about this, the timing of this. The Bloc are now making demands on Justin Trudeau, and now you've got Mary Simon, who's not speaking French in Quebec, and then she cancels her whole tour based on the media making a fool of her because of it. The timing of this is just unreal.
Was there for an official visit, and once she got questioned on her inability to speak French, she quit, went back to Ottawa. That is the real insult. And this is a Governor General who has spent lavishly traveling around the world. You'll remember that she and 30 guests spent $93,000 on in-flight meals on the government's executive jet when she went to Dubai and Kuwait in the Middle East. You might remember that she took 33 people with her to Frankfurt for a book fair. That total trip cost about $700,000. And again, about $100,000 on catered meals on government jet.
I believe that one actually cost $804,000. It was over 4 days. Frankfurt book tour. That's what she's spending our money on.
When she was in Reykjavik for a circumpolar conference of one sort or another, she spent $70,000 simply on limos. I've been to Reykjavik. It's a beautiful city, but it's small. You can walk from the hotels to the conference center very easily. Mary Simon had the taxpayers of Canada spend $70,000 getting her limos and security vehicles so she could go the 5 blocks from her hotel to the conference center.
$71,000. Just to be correct here, $71,000 so she doesn't have to walk 5 blocks to a convention center. I'm sorry, but that's preposterous.
It's unconscionable. Now we have this insult that she's committed in Quebec City when it comes to using the French language in her official capacity. So is it time to get rid of Mary Simon too? You remember, she was brought in to replace Julie Payette, who had harassed her staff so badly that a lot of the people at Rideau Hall were quitting because they couldn't put up with her bullying at work. Payette also had $250,000 spent making the entrance to Rideau Hall, which is the Governor General's official residence. She had $250,000 spent making the entrance more private so she couldn't be seen by the riffraff, the public, who were out on the lawn when she was going into her home. The Mary Simon instance and the Julie Payette instance are both examples that the Trudeau government cannot vet its appointees with any kind of intelligence or sensitivity.
Justin Trudeau quite literally picks the worst people possible, not only for the Governor General, but for really any position. I mean, he hired all his high school childhood buddies who were at his wedding as groomsmen to be ministers. Do all these people actually have credentials in these jobs? No, they're just his buddies. He hired his buddies to run our country when they have no credentials to run any of these positions.
Both of these Governor Generals could easily have been stopped from becoming embarrassments if the Trudeau government had simply done its homework in advance. But it doesn't do that. We know that from a whole bunch of other appointments lately, like the soon-to-be, or the person who was to be the commissioner of the Human Rights Commission, not vetted, had to resign before he was officially appointed because he was an embarrassment. This is the evidence that the Trudeau government is incompetent, that it gets so caught up in its woke ideas that Mary Simon, first Indigenous person to be appointed Governor General, got to do it. We don't need to check her background. Wokeness will get us through. That's the problem here. And it may very well be time for yet another new Governor General.
Something to know about Mary Simon, too. She's a public servant, but she's also very much an activist. That's who Justin Trudeau has in that high position in Canada, an activist, environmental activist. So let's talk about her for a bit here. So Mary Simon, she's one of the few people who can actually get rid of Justin Trudeau, but she's living this lavish life. She's not going to do that. And he knows that. That's why he's like, go ahead, Mary, just run around the world with the jet. You see here the Governor General's reserve powers. On rare occasions, the Governor General can exercise personal discretion, meaning that he or she can act independently of prime ministerial advice. This ability to exercise personal discretion revolves around the Governor General's reserve powers. To establish reserve powers are the Governor General's authority to refuse a Prime Minister's request to dissolve Parliament and or right to appoint and dismiss a Prime Minister. The Governor General's reserve powers are necessary for ensuring that the conventions of responsible government are observed. For example, the Governor General's powers to dismiss the Prime Minister may be necessary in the event that a Prime Minister violates constitutional convention by refusing to resign after an opposing party obtains clear majority in a general election. I wonder if that's a little foreshadowing here. Is that what we're going to get? But Mary Simon wouldn't step in to throw Trudeau out. No, we'll see what happens. Hopefully Trudeau actually steps down once he loses the next election. So Justin Trudeau makes sure to find these absolute nutcases that he appoints as Governor Generals to make sure he is protected. That's what he has done. And let's take a look at Mary Simon. So first off, she's appointed in 2021. So she's been in power here for about 3 years. Transportation costs during her first full year in office were nearly $3 million. 17 domestic trips across Canada last year at $2.78 million. She went to the Middle East, as they mentioned in the Toronto Sun there. $100,000 in-flight catering bill, 29 passengers, included beef Wellington, carpaccio, and over $500 for redacted quality of lemons and limes. They won't even tell what type of fancy lemons and limes they had. They redacted it. $500 in lemons and limes. She took a trip out to Dubai, meetings with Qatar, 1.3 million. We got London spending 28,000 in air and ground transportation, 3,000 in meals, 7,000 in lodging, 13,000 in other expenses. Trip to the UK here, motorcade 21,000, 7,000. I mean, this is on and on and on. Queen's funeral almost $10,000 in hotels, another 43,000. As he mentioned there too, the Toronto Sun, $71,000 in the limousine in Reykjavik. Like, this is just insane how much money she's wasted. Mary Simon is an absolute disgrace to Canada. She should have to pay back all of those millions. At the very least, strip her of her pension and just throw her out. We got this article here. It says her previous career, Mary Simon's previous career, was public servant and political activist. Along with a number of other radical females in Canada, signed a letter dated April 2021 criticizing former Prime Minister Stephen Harper. The letter was for a pro-abortion lobby group Action Canada and Population and Development. The letter stated that Mr. Harper was threatening the whole planet by denying the reality of climate change and not opposing reliance on fossil fuels. Something to note about fossil fuels. I mean, whether you like it or not, let's just get real. If you look back in history, what did they used to burn? Whale oil. Because of fossil fuels, whales aren't being killed and used for their oil. And because of fossil fuels, we're not burning a whole bunch of trees. I mean, that's just the nuts and bolts of it. We take a look at this graph here. We've got whale oil in blue and sperm whale oil in red. Both, I'm guessing this is, the blue one is a mixture of all different types of whale oil. But either way, you can see here, this is about 1880 here, 1890, 1900. The use of whale oil just disappeared because of fossil fuels. And if you want to dive really into the weeds of all this, whales, they dive vertically in the ocean. They go up and down because they have to breathe off the surface. They pull nutrients off the bottom of the ocean. They pull that up, which feeds phytoplankton. Then that phytoplankton then exhales oxygen into the environment. Phytoplankton sucks in carbon dioxide to breathe and they exhale oxygen. Whales' currents going down, up, feeding the phytoplankton is a cornerstone to life on Earth. You got people like Mary Simon here. They got people with big pocketbooks funding them. And, you know, it just comes down to money. It's all about money. So next up, we got this interview with Vasi Capellos and Mary Simon. She was asked about the Quebec thing. So she, you know, the media found out that she wasn't speaking French, which is an embarrassment to, well, Canada and, well, anyone in Quebec who is expecting her to know French. And now the Bloc, I'm sure, will probably pick that up. And next week, we'll hear something about that. But Vasi asks her a whole bunch of questions about reconciliation and all that. But she asks her about her not speaking French at the last question here.
Just before I let you go, I did want to ask you one more question on a different subject, if you don't mind, Your Excellency. And that's around criticism that arose from your visit to Quebec.
Your Excellency? What is she, like the Dark Lord? It's like some language you hear out of Star Wars.
Particular from Quebec politicians on your French, your ability or your lack there, the lack thereof of French. I'm wondering, in response to those criticisms, do you feel it hinders your ability to represent Quebecers to the Crown or to the monarchy, or vice versa?
I don't think it hinders my ability to represent Canadians. And, you know, it's difficult to think that somebody wouldn't ask me how good my French was before it was made public. I have been taking lessons for 3 years, and I can carry on a conversation in French. So,
I mean, that's fair. She should be asked at least how good her French is, but she does not represent Canadians. That is just preposterous. Canadians are flying around a private jet buying $500 lemons.
it may be short, but I can do it. And I know I've made a lot of progress. And, when you think about the criticism, I was thinking about that. I'm a Canadian. I'm a Quebecer. I'm Indigenous. And I have worked on identity, culture, and language all my career. And it's very hard to just pick the language as something that's so important that you forget about all the other elements as to why you're doing your job and why you were appointed to be that person.
Yeah, we could definitely focus on all your corruption scandal, wasting all our money. That's what we should be focusing on, not any of the language stuff. Who cares? I mean, in Quebec, yeah, that's embarrassing. They don't like it. But I mean, Her Excellency here should be able to speak both languages if she's in such a top role. She just doesn't care. She just wants to jet set around and eat $500 lemons.
So for me, it has to, any kind of discussion related to language you have to include the identity, the culture, and the language, not one piece at a time.
Do you feel the criticism is misplaced because of that?
Yes, I do.
And how does it make you feel that you're on the receiving end of it?
Well, we're all human. I think we all have sensitivities when you get a personal attack, without knowing really what the reality is. So, yeah, it can be hurtful.
All right.
It's not
Cry me a river, Mary Simon.
going to stop me from doing my job, though.
And not stop you from going to Quebec?
No, I'm a Quebecer. I come from Nunavik, and it will always be my home.
Okay, I will leave it on that note. Thank you.
Vassie's going softball on her. Normally she's grilling them pretty good. This is a little soft, Vassie. Come on, Your Excellency. I mean, look at these comments here. Most useless Governor General in Canadian history. Talk, and more talk. Garbage, progress, and no action. Why do we even have a Governor General? Wowza, that's very significant for her salary. Just another high-flying hypocrite that needs to go. Overpaid and underachieved. Yeah, that's it right there. Vassie, you were uncharacteristically soft on GGY. Yeah, I'm not the only one noticing that here. DEI appointment must be bilingual. Miss $80,000 airplane dinner. Spent $700K taxpayer dollars on a 2-week trip. Yeah, so that Frankfurt one is actually more, 801. If we take a look here, the Frankfurt Book Fair did not require her presence. However, on October 18, 2021, Mary Simon flew there for a 4-day visit. It's $801,000, 418 bucks. Included 5-star hotels in Frankfurt, prestigious Ritz-Carlton, $200 per person plates, in-flight meals for 32 people, $103,000, $39,000 for 25,000 liters of jet fuel. It's on and on and on with Mary Simon. She's just an absolute corrupt, useless fool. Next up, I got a video here from Pierre Poilievre. It's an inspirational 1-minute video he's put up, and I think this just really speaks a lot to Canada and where Canada will be going with Pierre Poilievre.
Feels like home near the mountains where I grew up. I was adopted by school teachers who taught me that in Canada, if you worked at it, you could climb any mountain. People don't feel that way now. In fact, it feels like we're all a long way from home. Our youth can't even afford homes or food. Debt, taxes, and crime are up. Jobs are down. Immigration is broken. Woke obsessions dishonor our history, destroy our education, degrade our military, divide our people. But common sense will lead us home. We'll cap spending, axe taxes, reward work, build homes, uphold families, stop crime, secure borders, rearm our forces, restore our freedom, and unite our people with common values, common sense, common hope for our common home, Canada. Let's bring it home.
This is one of the most Canadian things I've seen in a while. We look at the streets today, we got people blocking streets. There's all sorts of, protests you just never would ever expect to see in Canada. This is what we need to get back to, what Canada actually is. Next up, we got this clip here of Chrystia Freeland saying that other countries won't want to do business with us if we don't have a clear carbon plan. This is so stupid.
Canada is a trading nation. The world is not going to hold up its plans for climate action and for the industrial transformation because of political developments here in Canada. But the world will say, we don't want Canada's stuff if it is not produced in the framework of a clear carbon plan.
That's so dumb, because if you were to take that same logic, well, does that mean nobody's going to be buying anything from China or Vietnam or any of these countries where quite literally are the only suppliers of those things? No, the bottom line for companies is money. That's it. It's the bottom dollar. How cheap can I buy it? Some companies, sure, they want things ethically produced. They don't want it produced with sweatshops. They don't want, child labor, any of that kind of stuff. That's different. And if she was saying that, then that would be a different argument. But that's not what she's saying. She's saying climate. What companies are saying, oh, well, did you do that net zero? Did you do that eco green? Who's saying this? Which company? Name one. Next up, let's jump over to my group. Let's see what memes we've got today. The year is 2035. The first astronauts have landed on Mars. They find a cave with a human skeleton and 4 words written on the wall. What are the words? Sunny ways, Justin Trudeau. The politicians did it. Is Justin gone yet? Diversity is our strength. Get off my lawn. We build back better. That's a liberal slogan. Look at this. I used to fight crime all over the world. Then I went to Canada. What the heck happened to that place? He's got the bottle. Frustration is knowing the agenda is not hidden anymore, and yet the sheep are still obeying. Yeah, that is frustrating. We still have 21% of people who think Justin Trudeau is the greatest thing since sliced bread. Finally, photographic evidence. Does a bear crap in the woods? You bet it does. Only in Alberta. Wow. Okay, we can't have that audio in here, but we've got a guy riding a bison. That's amazing. There we have it. Mary Simon, will she be the next one out? I don't know. I mean, Justin Trudeau, he doesn't need more people embarrassing him, especially with the Bloc. That's already a sensitive situation. The woman is horribly corrupt, but if she keeps him in power, I don't think he's going to touch her. The key question here is, how will the Bloc respond this coming week?